Dear students, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. How are you? I hope best for you. I Mukesh Kumar welcomes you to online Mukesh Online Academy. आपका मुकेश ऑनलाइन एकेडमी में स्वागत है. And we are doing the chapter 12 of electricity. Okay, chapter 12 electricity of the NCERT book of the CBSE board. As we know that this book is being studied into the several boards also, so it can be applicable to those also. Okay, so we have done already several topics in first 5 videos. Okay, in the first video we did about the introduction, and then we did about the electrical components, we did about the ammeter, we did about the current, electric current, we did about the electric potential. Okay, so we did about then Ohm's law. Okay, so we have done different things, different topics we have already covered before this. So if you have not seen those videos, then I have given the links of those videos into the description. So it is better if you go through them. Okay, so it will give you the better idea about the topic. Okay, so now a best tip that I usually give in my every video: whenever you are watching any study related video of anyone, okay, think it like a live class. Keep a notepad and pen with you. Okay, it is better to have a notebook. Okay, and write the key points like the formulas, different key points you need to write. Okay, so how can you solve them? So this way you will prepare a summary for the examination. So whenever the exams are coming, you can go through that and you will revise in a very short period of time. Okay, otherwise it becomes too much to revise into the very short period of time. Okay, I hope you must be doing that. Okay, because you want to become best in science. Okay, so if you have any doubt, if you have any query, then you can write in the comment box, and you can reach to me on WhatsApp or email or Telegram also. I have given the Telegram ID into the description. And if you want to have the live online classes, then you can also write to me on the WhatsApp or email. So we will be happy to serve you. And if you want the free notes, okay, free notes of each and every chapter, then you also write to me on WhatsApp or mail. Okay, we will be happy to send you. We will be happy to solve as much query as yours as you can. Okay, and now in this video we will do about the experiment. Okay, and the different categories of the conductors based on the resistance. Okay, and we will do some questions based on the Ohm's law. Okay, so now let's start.
Dear students, let's start. And in this video we will do an experiment, an activity related to the Ohm's law. Okay, so and then we will do some questions, some numericals which come into the exam. So now we are doing the experiment. So what we are doing here is the experiment to verify Ohm's law. Okay, so this is the activity which is given in the book. Okay, activity 12.1, this is given in the book that we are going to do here. So when we are doing any experiment or any activity, there is some set of things which we need to write in the exam. Okay, so first, what is the aim? Then second, what are the material required? Then what are we going to do? What is the principle working behind it? So there are several things that we need to write. Okay, so this is what is the aim. So this is already the aim of the activity. Okay, to verify the Ohm's law. So this is the aim that we need to write of this activity. Okay, now we need to write what are the material required. Okay, so we can do this activity in the two different ways. So first we will do the one way, then second we will do the other way. So in the first way, the material required is first we need the nichrome wire. Okay, this is the resistor that will work as a resistance wire. Okay, this is the nichrome wire is the resistance wire. Okay, now we will need an ammeter, we will need a voltmeter. Okay, we will need a battery, or we can say 4 cells of 1.5 volt each. Okay, we can create the battery from this. Okay, So these are the things required for the first kind of method. Now procedure, what will we do basically? This is the procedure. How are we going to do the experiment? So first of all, we will set up the experiment as shown in the diagram. Okay, set up the circuit as shown in diagram. So what is the diagram that we will set up the circuit? Okay, so now let's make the diagram. See, this is the resistance wire. Okay, we will connect this wire with the ammeter and with the key, and this will be connected with a voltmeter. This is a voltmeter, and this will be connected with a cell. First we will connect one cell, then we will connect two cells, then we will connect three cells, and then we will connect four cells. Okay, so basically we are doing this first. This is given, means this we will do with the one cell, then we will do the with the two cells. Okay, so this is the setup that we have done. So this is the X and Y. Okay, this is the resistance R, this is the voltmeter, this is connected to positive, this is negative because it is connected to the positive terminal of the battery, and this is to the negative terminal of the battery. Same here, this is positive terminal to the battery, this is negative terminal to the battery, and this is the key. Okay, now how will we start? After setting up the experiment like this, the means different components of the circuit like this, then we have to start the experiment. Okay, so now what will we do? We will use one cell first. We will take the experiment with the one cell only. Okay, first use one cell and then take the voltmeter and ammeter reading. Means we will load the corresponding voltmeter readings and corresponding ammeter reading that we will note. Okay, now after we have means taken these two readings, okay, now then we'll connect the second cell. Now we will take, first we use only one cell, now we will use these two cells. Okay, so now the potential difference becomes more, so that means there should be the change in the values of the V and A. Now use two cells and take the V and A reading corresponding. Okay, now we will use the three cells. Now 1, 2, 3 cells together we will use. Now we have a battery of 3 cells. Now the current is flowing like this. Now we have to close the circuit also. Okay, so after closing the circuit, this current will flow like this. Okay, now see, first we have used only one cell and we have taken the corresponding V and A reading. Okay, then we have used two cells. Okay, then we are using two cells. Now we are taking the corresponding V and A's. Now we have used the three cells. Now we are using the, see, three cells are being used. Okay, now then we will take the corresponding values of V and A reading. Okay, now we will use all the four cells. See, now we are using all the four cells. Okay, 1, 2, 3 and 4, all the four cells we are using, and now we will use the corresponding V and A reading. Okay, so now use 4 cells and take the V and A reading corresponding. Clear? So what we have done in this, you first used one cell, then two cells, then three cells, then four cells. As the number of cells are changing, so the potential difference is changing, so the current is also changing, and we will take the corresponding values of V and A from the voltmeter and ammeter. Now we will use, and simultaneously we will write these values in a table. Okay, so we will make a table also. So this is called the observation table. So we will write the observation table. Okay, so in the observation table, first we will write the serial number, then we will write number of cells used, then we will write the voltmeter reading, okay, voltmeter reading, and then we will write the ammeter reading. Okay, so this will give us the V and this will give us the I. So this is basically the potential difference between ends of the wire. That means the potential difference here and here. Okay, what is the potential difference here and here will be given in this voltmeter, and what is the current flowing through in the total circuit will be given by the ammeter reading. Okay, so this is the I in amperes. This we will note in volts and this we will note in the amperes. So this is basically the current flowing in nichrome wire. Okay, so let's take an example so that we will have the fair idea. Suppose we are using serial number 1, 2, 3 and 4 steps we have done. Okay, now suppose we are using one cell at a time, and let's say the voltmeter reading is, and we have used only one cell, and this time the voltmeter reading 1.5 volt, and let's say the current flowing through the wire is 0.5 ampere. Okay, now we are using the two cells. Okay, two cells simultaneously. So let's say the current volt becomes 3 volt for the two cells, and the let's say current becomes 1 ampere. Now we will use the 3 cells. Okay, now let's take an example. The current the voltmeter reading becomes the 4.5 volt, and the current means the ammeter reading becomes the 1.5 ampere. Okay, now we are using the 4 cells. So now the current becomes, let's say the current becomes 2 ampere and the potential difference is 6 volt. Okay, so now we have made this table. This is the one way of doing it. Okay, now we will find the V upon I ratio. Okay, so the V upon I ratio for this will be 1.5 upon 0.5. So this became the 3 ohm. Now this is 3 upon 1.0, so this became a 3 ohm. This is also 4.5 upon 1.5, this also became a 3 ohm, and this also 6 by 2, that means it became a 3 ohm. So the ratio of V upon I is coming same in all one. So that means the resistance of the wire is 3 ohm. That means the V upon I equals to a constant value that we are getting here. So this is the verification of Ohm's law. And after making the observation table, we will draw a graph of the values. Okay, the VI graph of the values we will draw. So how to draw this graph, as we have discussed in the last video also. So we will plot these V upon I graph. Okay, this is V, this is I. Let's say this is in ampere and this is in volts. So let's divide them. See, let's say this is the 0.5, this is the value 1, this is the value 1.5, and this is the value 2, and this is the value 2.5. Okay, now let's say this is 1.5 volt, this is 3 volt, this is 4.5 volt, and this is 6 volt. So now let's draw the graph. See, here it is coming at 0.5, 1.5 is coming. Okay, means at the 0.5 ampere is coming at the 1.5 volt. Then at 1 ampere it is coming 3 volt. At 1 ampere it is coming 3 volt. And at 1.5 ampere it is coming 1.5, 4.5 volt. And then at 2 ampere it is coming 6 volt. Okay, so now we will draw the line. Okay, so this is the graph which is coming. We will find the slope of it and then we will find the resistance. So this is how we have to show the VI graph. Okay, or we can plot VI graph, V on the x-axis also and I on the y-axis also. So this way we can plot the VI graph for the, now this is complete. Okay, now so what is the conclusion that we can say? Okay, that V upon I graph is a straight line, so which verifies the Ohm's law, and V upon I is a constant which is coming in calculation also. So this is how we can verify the Ohm's law. I hope this is clear to you. Now, what is the second way we can do? We will draw the straight away diagram. Okay, in the second way, the second method. Okay, what are the materials that we will use? Same material. Okay, same as first method, but instead of cell use battery. Okay, and now to divide the current or to change the current, what we will use the rheostat that we have studied in the last video. This is also called the variable resistance. Okay, now how will we set up this experiment? That we will show into the diagram. So what is the procedure in this case? So that we can see in this diagram. So here same way we will use the resistance wire. Okay, this resistance wire will be connected to the voltmeter, and this we will connect to the ammeter, and the key and a battery, and we will connect a rheostat to this, and this is the slider of the rheostat that we use. Okay, so here we, instead of the cells, the separate cells, what we have used is the battery. This is the positive terminal of the battery, this is the negative terminal. See what will be used here when we put the key. Okay, this is the key, this is the ammeter. See, this is the positive terminal, this is the negative, because it is connected to positive, it is connected to the negative. Same way, this is connected to the positive, this is connected to the negative terminal. This is the nichrome wire resistance XY, and this is the rheostat. Okay, so this way we will set up this experiment. When we close the key, then current will start flowing from positive terminal to the negative terminal of the battery. So what will we do first here? Basically we will take the slider of this to the extreme. Okay, we will check in both the extremes, in which extreme this is the resistance is becoming maximum. Suppose let's say in this position it is becoming, suppose let's say in this position where I have been pointing this blue color, suppose in this position the resistance of the rheostat is maximum. So in that case the ammeter reading and the voltmeter reading will be minimum. So as we have discussed, the more is the resistance, less will be the current. As see, we are using the same battery. Now the potential difference, whatever is the potential difference of this battery, will not be shown here because we have controlled the current through the rheostat. Okay, so now after taking this position of the rheostat to the extreme where the resistance is maximum, so the current in this circuit will be minimum, and correspondingly the potential difference will also show here across the ends of this wire. Okay, now we will take this reading in a table. Okay, see, we will use a table again in this case also. Serial number we will write like 1, 2, 3 and 4 reading we will take. Okay, we will take the ammeter reading, that is in ampere. Okay, we will take the voltmeter reading, this is in volt, and then we will find the V upon I ratio, which is equals to R. Okay, now see, first of all what we have done, we have taken this slider to the extreme. Okay, so that the resistance becomes maximum and the current in the ammeter becomes minimum. So correspondingly it will show the values of A and B, and we will note down the values of A and B here. So let's take an example. Suppose the value the ammeter is showing is 0.05 ampere. Okay, and the corresponding value it shows is 0.85 volt. Okay, now we will start sliding this to this side. So that means when now the resistance will become starting reducing, and the corresponding A and B value will start increasing. So now the corresponding A value, let's say it becomes 0.1 ampere, and the corresponding voltmeter reading becomes 1.7 volt. Now we will again slide it to Okay. Now the current becomes, let's say now again the current in the A and B will change. Now the current becomes, let's say 0.2 ampere. Okay. And the voltmeter reading becomes, let's say 3.5 volt. Now again we will slide it. Okay. So now the resistance again is reducing. Now the current, let's say, becomes 0.3 ampere. And the value of the voltmeter, let's say, becomes 5 volt. Now again we will slide here. So now we have taken to the extreme. Now the resistance, where the resistance is minimum, so the current now becomes maximum, and which is 0.4 ampere. Okay, and the corresponding value for the voltmeter is 6.8. Okay, so these 5 values we have taken here. Okay, now what we will do, we will find the ratio of V upon I for every value. See, here the ratio of 0.85 divided by 0.05, it becomes the 17 ohm. Now in the second one, it becomes 1.7 divided by 0.1, that means it becomes a 17 ohm. In the third one, we have 3.5 divided by 0.2, that means it becomes a 17.5 ohm. Now in the fourth, 5 upon 0.3, that means 50 by 3, that means it becomes a 3 1 3, 16.67 ohm. And now this one, last one, the 6.8 divided by 0.4, that means it becomes 17 ohm. See, here we are not getting the same values. Okay, so this can happen in any kind of experiment. Okay, little error may be there, but there should not be more deviation from the values. Like the value should not go 11, 12. If it is coming within the range of 17, then it's okay. So now what will we do here? To show the average values, we will find the mean basically. So mean means 17 plus 17 plus 17.5 plus 16.67 plus 17 divided by 5, because we have taken the 5 values. So it becomes 17, 17, 34, 51. Okay. So 51 or 17, it becomes 68, 68.5, 68.5 and 16.67. 7, 5, 11, 1, 6, 7, 8, 15, 1, 1, 2, 6, 8. So we got 85.17 upon 5. So now divide it, 17.032. So that means we got the answer 17 ohm. We will round it off to the 17 ohm. So what is the resistance of this wire? 17 ohm. See, look here, B upon I ratio is not coming same, but slight variation may be acceptable in any kind of experiment. It may be because of some heating or something else. Okay. So now we are getting the average value 17 ohm that we can put into the values. And now we will draw the graph similar in the same way as we have done in the earlier. Now we will make the VI graph same as ever. Okay, so now our experiment is complete. So now we can do, I have shown you the experiment how to do this activity in the 2 different ways. One by taking the different cells and one by taking the rheostat and battery, and we will arrive at the same results. Okay, now see students, we have defined some good conductors, poor conductors, bad conductors, insulators. Okay, in the previous videos, in the first video we had done about the conductors and insulators. Now we will learn the conductors and insulators, why the conductor is a conductor and insulator is an insulator, on the basis of resistance. First we had studied on the basis of electrons. Now we will study on the basis of resistance. Okay, so how resistance plays the part on becoming anything as a good conductor or poor conductor or insulator or resistor. Okay, so now good conductor. So now how can we define a good conductor? A conductor whose resistance is very low. Okay, which provides the least resistance. A material which provides the least resistance to the flow of current is called a good conductor. Okay, an electric component of a given size that offers a low resistance is called good conductor. Okay, or how can we define it? Those materials which have very low electrical resistance are called good conductors. Okay, so these are the definitions of good conductors. Means the materials or the electric component which have a very low resistance, that means it is not providing any resistance, it is making the paths, free paths for the flow of the electricity, they are called the good conductors. Okay, so that means whenever a good conductor is there, it will make the path of the electricity, the flow of electricity very smooth. Okay, see, a good conductor allows electricity to flow through it easily. Okay, now write some example. So what is the best conductor of electricity? Is silver, because doesn't show any kind of resistance, or it has very least resistance. Okay, so the best conductor of electricity is silver. Now next in the line is copper and aluminium. So these are also the good conductors of electricity. See, silver gives you the very good path of the provides no hindrance, but still we do not use the wire made of the silver because they are the costly. So that is why we use the next in the line, that is the copper, as a good conductor of electricity, and we use the connecting wires for the transmission of electricity either of copper or aluminium. Now comes the resistor. See, resistor means which have resistance more than the good conductors, but not as high as the poor conductors. Okay, so that means their resistor is between the good conductors and the poor conductors. Okay, it allows the flow of the electricity, but not up to the extent as the good conductors can do. Okay, and it does not obstruct the flow of electricity up to the extent as the poor conductors or the insulators do. So they have the resistance between the good conductors and poor conductors. So that is why they are used, since they allow some flow of the electricity. So that is why they are used as a heating elements. Okay, those substances which have comparatively high resistance, okay, we call them resistors. Okay, clear? Examples we can write here. Alloys. See, alloys means the mixture of two or more metals. Clear? For example, alloys like nichrome, this we use into the heating elements of the heaters, of the room heaters, of the means the heating or the geysers. Okay, so alloys like nichromes, manganese and constantan. So these are used as a heating element, constantan or eureka. Okay, so these are the resistors basically. And where do we use them? So we use the resistors, use them where high resistance is required, like in the heating elements, like heating elements. Okay, so basically what the resistor is doing, it is reducing the current in the circuit. It reduces current in the circuit. Okay, next comes the poor conductors. Poor conductor means very high resistance, very little flow of the current. Okay, so this is called the poor conductors, means very high resistance, appreciably high resistance. We call them poor conductors. They allow up to very little extent, not as high as the resistor or good conductors. They allow up to the very little. Okay, so means there are some metals which comes into this category. They are the poor conductors of electricity. Okay, now the insulators. Okay, so insulator has extremely high resistance. Okay, because of the extremely high resistance, it does not allow any flow of electricity through it. Okay, so this is the reason we call them insulators. Those substances which have infinitely high resistance and we call them insulators. Okay, so they do not allow any flow of the electricity to through them. So for example, rubber. So this is the reason that the electrician wear the rubber gloves while working with the electricity. Okay, wood, and here we could call dry wood. So this is the reason when we are standing on some table, and even if we touch some electrical component, then we do not get electric shock, because wood is a insulator, does not allow the flow of the current through it. Dry air. Dry air is also very good insulator. Plastics. Plastics like polythene and bakelite. Okay, this is the reason that the switches of the electric components are made of the bakelite. Okay, thermocol is a very good insulator. Okay, so that is why it is used to provide the insulation. Okay, like in ACs, gases, dry, these are also good insulators. Okay, and dry air is also a good insulator at standard temperature and pressure, STP. Clear? So students, this was about the how resistance plays a role in the conduction of electricity and helps us to qualify different substances as a good conductor, resistor, poor conductors and insulator. And now we will do certain examples based on the Ohm's law, certain numerical questions. See, these are the two examples. This is the example basically 12.3 on the NCERT book. Okay, so in the first one we have the potential difference. Okay, so how much current will an electric bulb draws from a 220 volt source? So this is the potential difference, and if the resistance of the bulb filament is 1200 ohm. Okay, so what is given, that V is 220 volt and R is 1200 ohm. So now we will use the formula V equal to IR, and what we need to find? The current. So that means I equal to V upon R. So instead in the place of V, we will write 220 upon 1200. So 0 divided by 2, 11 and 60. So we will write 11 upon 60 ampere, and we want to divide it. So this will become 60, you divide 11, so 0.0 and 1, 60, 50, then again 0, 8, 0, 8, 6 are 48 and 20. So you can say around 0. So you will get the answer 0.18 ampere. You will get the answer. Okay. So this is how we will use this formula. The next one, we have the question: how much current an electric heater coil draw from a 220 volt source? Again, the potential difference is given, and the resistance of the heater is given. Okay. So now let's do the question. So we have been given V equal to 220 volt, and we have been given R equal to 100 ohm. So that means again we are using the same formula as we have used above, I equal to V upon R. So that means V is 220 and R is 100. So that means we have the 2.2 ampere of the current is flowing there. See, look here, one thing we have to look, one analogy here. What is that thing that we need to consider? See, here the resistance was the 1200 ohm, but the potential difference is same in case of both. Okay, same in case of both. That means when the resistance increase, see here the current is 0.18 ampere and here the current is 2.2 ampere. So in the same ratio, the current is also increasing. This is what we can see when we change the resistance. When we decrease the resistance, then the current increases, or when we increase the resistance, then the current is decreased. Okay, this is what we can learn from this example. Okay, now the next question that we will do here, see again this question is an example in the NCERT book. Okay, what is given here basically, the electric potential difference is given, that is the 60 volt, and the current at this potential difference is drawing at 4 ampere. Okay, now we have changed the potential difference to 120 volt. Now what current it will draw? So that means here the resistance of the heater is same. In the previous two examples, the resistance was changing, the V was same. Now here the resistance is same. Okay. See what is given basically. See the potential difference means V1 we have the 60 volt and the current it is drawing I1 is basically the 4 ampere. Now we have to find the I2, how much current now it will draw, because now the heater is same. So that means we have made the potential difference to 120 volt. Okay. Now solution. See, since heater is same, so resistance will be same. Okay. So that means what we can do, that V1 upon V2 will be equals to I1R upon I2R. This formula we can use. So R is same, so R and R will be strike off. So now we have got the formula, that is the V1 upon V2 equal to I1 upon I2. We have the value V1 60 volt upon V2 120 volt. I1 we have the 4 ampere and I2 we have to find. 0 gone, 6 1 just 6, 6 2 12. So that means I2 equals to 2 into 4. So now 8 ampere current will be there. So now we have learned the two different situations. In the first situation, the R was changing, the V was same. In the second question, the R is same, means the resistance, because the heater is same, there is no change in the heater, but the potential difference is changing, so the current is also changing. So we have seen the questions of the both the situation. Okay. Now we have one more question from the NCERT book. Here see what is given. We have been given the potential difference and resistance we have to find. We have to find the resistance. Okay. And we have been given the current. So now we will use the same Ohm's law basically. So here we have the potential difference means V equal to 12 volt. Okay. The current is given 2.5 milliampere. So here we need to convert this milliampere into the ampere. So, and as we know that 1 milliampere equal to 1 upon 1000 ampere. That means 2.5 milliampere will be 2.5 upon 1000 ampere. Okay, or we can say 2.5 into 10 to the power minus 3 ampere. Okay, so we know that R equal to V upon I, and V we have 12 volt upon 2.5 into 10 to the power minus 3 ampere. So now we will solve this. So it will become 120 into 10 to the power 3, because this 10 to the power 3 will go up and this power will become positive, and we have removed this point with the 0. Okay. So now we have 5 the 25, 5 2 the 10, 5 4 the 20. Okay. So we have 2 4 1 2 3 zeros upon 5. We have 5 4 the 20, 5 8 the, so 4800 ohm is the resistance of the wire that we are getting. Okay. So students, we have some more examples to do. We have some more questions to do. And if you want to practice some more questions, okay, then you can write to me. We will send you the questions so that you can practice more more questions on this formula. Okay. Dear students, today we have learned about the experiment. Okay, the two ways in which we can do the activity, we can do the experiment to verify the Ohm's law. We have done the classification of conductors, means good conductor, resistor, poor conductor, or insulators on the basis of resistance. And then we have done some questions based on the Ohm's law. And if you want to do the other questions, some more questions, then you can write to me. We will send you the questions. Okay. So students, in the next video we will do about the factors which affect the resistance. Okay. We have studied that the resistance is constant, but there are some factors which affect the resistance also. Okay, that we will study into the next video. So thank you so much for watching. Write your comments about the video, any query, doubt about the topic in the comment box. And students, if you want to get the free notes, then write to us on the mail or WhatsApp, or you can write to me on the Telegram also. Okay. And if you like the video, then kindly share the video, subscribe to it, share with your friends, and like it. And if you want to do the live online classes, then also you can contact us through WhatsApp or mail. So we will be happy to serve you. So thank you so much for watching.